We often look for monsters in the wrong places. We imagine them hiding in dark alleys or deep in the woods, waiting for the sun to go down. But William Golding, the man who wrote about a group of boys stranded on an island, had a different idea. He believed the real monsters aren't out there in nature. They are right inside our own minds. Most of us like to think of ourselves as good people. We have jobs, we pay our taxes, and we try to be polite. But there is a huge group of people that history often forgets until it's too late, the passive majority. John Stuart Mill once said that for evil to win, all it takes is for good people to do nothing. This isn't about people being intentionally cruel, it's about people being quiet. It's about that moment when you see something wrong happening and you decide it's not your business. You tell yourself you're staying neutral, but in reality, you're making a choice. This quietness, this moral apathy, is exactly what allows the worst parts of humanity to grow. It starts small. It starts with staying the same, because it's comfortable. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to be the one who makes things awkward. We prefer the safety of the crowd, even if that crowd is walking in the wrong direction. This is where a very specific kind of manipulation comes in. If we look at the work of C.S. Lewis, specifically his book, The Screwtape Letters, we see a character named Screwtape. He is an experienced demon giving advice on how to corrupt a human soul. His main strategy isn't to make a person commit a massive violent crime. That's too obvious. Instead, he uses the strategy of irrelevance. He doesn't want you to think that doing the right thing is wrong. He just wants you to feel like it doesn't matter. He wants you to believe that big ethical questions are boring or old-fashioned. He wants to make your conscience feel like a heavy coat you can just take off because it's a bit too warm outside. Screwtape knows that the best way to keep a person from reflecting on their life is to keep them busy with the banal. He uses what we call the trap of the practical. Think about your average day. You wake up, you check your phone, you worry about what's for lunch, you think about the laundry you haven't finished, or a meeting that might be stressful. These aren't bad things, but they are distractions. When we are constantly worried about the immediate, tiny details of our lives, we don't have time to ask if we are living according to our principles. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. It creates a constant noise that drowns out your internal compass. The danger here is that we start to live in a state of moral nihilism without even realizing it. We might say we believe in justice or kindness, but those are just words. They stay up in our heads like clouds, never touching the ground where we actually walk. This is a disconnected principle. You might believe in helping others, but when a neighbor actually needs something, you find an excuse. You're too tired, or you have that report to finish. Slowly, your actual life and your values become two completely different things. You aren't being evil in a dramatic way. You're just becoming someone whose actions don't mean anything. This leads us to the difference between theoretical virtue and real virtue. It's easy to be a good person in your imagination. In your head, you are the hero who stands up to the bully or helps the person in need. But reality is messy. Reality involves being tired, being annoyed, and wanting things to be easy. When our principles get in the way of our convenience, most of us choose convenience. We tell ourselves, it's just for today. We wait for tomorrow. It gets even more complicated when we step out of our homes and into the world of other people. We aren't just fighting our own laziness or our own distractions. We are also navigating the heavy influence of our social circles. Screwtape understands that the human soul is very sensitive to the opinions of others. He doesn't just want you to be apathetic on your own. He wants you to be apathetic because it makes you look good to your friends. This is where the desire to impress others starts to soften your moral stance. Think about the people you hang out with, the sophisticated friends who seem to have everything figured out. When you are with them, you want to belong. You want to be part of the inner circle. To stay in that circle, you start to make small compromises. If the group thinks a certain type of person is a joke, you start to laugh at them too. If the group values status over honesty, you find yourself talking more about your paycheck and less about your principles. You don't even notice it happening. You just feel a deep psychological need to fit in, and that need slowly wears down your conscience. You become a divided man. On one hand, you might go to church or read books about philosophy and feel like a very good person. You might even think about grand ideas, but then, an hour later, you are sitting at a dinner table with people you want to impress, and you become someone else entirely. In that setting, you might be cynical, cold, or even cruel. You might join in on gossip that ruins someone's reputation, or stay silent while a friend is treated unfairly. You tell yourself that you're just socially savvy. But this division is a trap. It keeps you from ever having a unified self. You aren't one person. You are a collection of masks that you change depending on who is looking. This makes it impossible to ever truly stand for anything because the you that stands for something keeps disappearing. As this happens, your internal questions shift. You stop asking, is this the right thing to do? And you start asking, is this useful to me? This is the beginning of moral Machiavellianism. You start to see everything and everyone as a tool. If being kind helps you get ahead, you'll be kind. If being ruthless helps you climb the social ladder, you'll be ruthless. But utility without a moral core always leads to brutality. When you only care about what is useful, you stop seeing other people as humans with their own feelings. They just become obstacles to move or resources to use. To hide this shift, you use the weapon of frivolity. You stop taking life seriously. You use irony and jokes to protect yourself from any real feeling of guilt. If someone points out that what you're doing is wrong, you just roll your eyes. You make it seem like they are the ones who are being dramatic. This lack of seriousness is like a poison. It erodes your commitment to any kind of truth because nothing is allowed to be important anymore. This shift is the most dangerous form of corruption. This exclusivity acts like a wall. Inside the wall, you feel safe. You share inside jokes and look down on the rest of the world. But this wall also cuts you off from the truth. You stop listening to your heart because the voice of the crowd is louder. You would rather betray your values than risk being kicked out. Screwtape watches and smiles because he knows he doesn't have to push you into evil. He just has to keep you wanting to belong. You become morally empty, but socially successful. In the eyes of the world, that looks like winning. But in the quiet moments, the weight of those masks feels very heavy. You realize that the crowd's approval has become your only compass now. The mask becomes the real danger when you start believing it. This is where the internal trap closes. St. Augustine spoke about the ignorance of evil. We do wrong things because we are blind to our motives. We wrap our selfishness in the language of necessity. We hide selfishness in virtue. Screwtape loves this self-deception because it makes you feel safe while you are in danger. To understand this, look at how Screwtape keeps your mind divided into fantasy, intellect, and will. He ensures these three parts never work together. He wants your fantasy to be full of grand ideas. He wants you to spend time dreaming of being a hero. You imagine helping others or standing for truth in situations that don't exist. This is the fantasy trap. It makes you feel like a good person just because you can imagine it. While fantasy acts the hero, intellect makes excuses. You tell yourself you are better than others. You feel superior to those struggling because you think you are more sophisticated. This is transactional goodness. You trade real action for an inflated sense of pride. You feel like a good person because you have the right opinions, not because you do the right things. You use your intelligence to justify being cold to your family or ignoring friends in trouble. You tell yourself, they just don't understand the bigger picture like you do. But the most important part of you is your will. Your will is what you actually do in the present moment. It decides how to treat the person standing right in front of you. This is where the betrayal happens. While your fantasy dreams of big virtues and your intellect feels proud, your will is busy committing 1,000 small brutalities. These aren't crimes that put you in jail. They are small things, like snapping at a partner because you are tired. It is the way you ignore someone lonely because they aren't cool enough for your social circle. It is the way you lie to make yourself look better. These small acts of cruelty don't feel like much because you still have that heroic fantasy in your head. You think you are essentially good, even as you cause real harm. This is the malignant genius of the trap. You can live for years in this state, convinced of your own righteousness, while your soul slowly rots. You stay the same, anchored in false comfort. You aren't moving toward the light. You are standing still in a room of mirrors that show you only what you want to see. You are surrounded by reflections of the person you pretend to be, while the real you disappears into the shadows. Your sophisticated friends might laugh and tell you that change is for the weak, further locking you into this cycle. The terrifying realization comes too late. You wake up and realize the heroic person in your fantasy never existed. You look back at a trail of broken relationships and a heart that has grown cold. You realize you have betrayed yourself and everyone who cared about you. You stayed in the comfort of your own apathy because it was easier than changing. You didn't want to face the monster inside that William Golding warned us about. You thought you were safe because you weren't bad like the people on the news. But by choosing the easy path of the passive majority, you lost the very thing that made you human. This is the ultimate danger. The comfort of staying the same isn't just a habit, it is a slow suicide of the spirit. When you finally stop dreaming and look at what you've become, you find that there is nothing left to save. The will is gone, the intellect is a cage, and the fantasy has turned into a ghost of the life you were supposed to live. It is a quiet, comfortable descent into darkness, where you never even noticed the moment your soul finally stopped trying to reach for the light.